Hello and welcome to a specialist news special on what is to the car industry a sombre occasion, but we should treat this as a celebration. Marcello Gandini, and I apologise to all our Italian viewers for my poor Italian pronunciations. I know there's nothing worse than a British YouTuber trying to pronounce Italian names properly. Marcello Gandini, born on the 26th of August 1938 in Turin, Italy, passed away last week on the 13th of March at his home in Rivoli, Italy. He was an Italian car designer, also an interior and exterior building designer, truck designer, and various other things. Including his designs were the Alfa Romeo Carrabbo, Montreal, the Lancia Stratos Zero and Stratos HF, Maserati Casmin, Ferrari GT4, Fiat X19, a multitude of Lamborghinis for which he is forever remembered, including the Bravo, Miura, Marcello, Espada, Urocco, Diablo, and of course the Countach. Car Design News awarded Gandini their first Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012, saying, "The stature of the Italian designer within the industry cannot be overstated," adding, "If there was an Olympic event for the greatest car designer of all time, Marcello Gandini would surely be on the podium, and his medal would not be bronze." Flavio Monzoni, Chief Design Officer at Ferrari, said, "Gandini is probably the greatest car designer ever." Son of an orchestra conductor, Gandini was born in Turin on the 26th of August 1938. In 1963, he approached Nuccio Bertoni, head of Gruppo Bertoni, for work. However, the then head designer and prodigy, Giorgetto Guigiaro, I can never pronounce that, I do apologise, then their chief designer, opposed him being hired. When he left Bertoni 2 years later, Gandini was indeed hired and worked for the company for another 14 years, and thus was born one of the great design rivalries throughout history, as the two men continued to lead the way in car design for the next few decades. Probably his most famous work, and one of the most enduring, is the Lamborghini Countach. And here you can see it is in a reproduction or a recreation of the original Countach concept car, created by Lamborghini themselves for an original customer. So we can, as Enwind Motors do, we just for clarification, we always call the cars that use the original running gear recreations or reproductions rather than replicas, just so that you can distinguish between the two. But you can see from the detail on this fantastic and stunning car, the thought, the detail that went into that original concept. It is Gandini design at its purest. Ferrari hired Bertoni to do the second generation Dino, the Dino 308 GT4, later rebranded as Ferrari's first V8 mid-engined car. It became the only Bertoni and Gandini design for Ferrari that ever made it into production. Although not appreciated at the time, it has grown to develop a large following. Amongst Gandini's many concept cars, probably one of the most iconic is the Lancia Stratos Zero. It bore very little resemblance to the Lancia Stratos rally car that followed, but it created a relationship between Lancia and Bertoni, and as such it led to the conversations that led to the rally car, and hence the name carrying across. In a 2009 interview with Robert Cumberford, editor at Automobile magazine, Gandini indicated that his design interests are focused on vehicle architecture, construction, assembly and mechanisms, not appearance. In other words, form follows function, and I think the most clean and pure version of this is the Lancia Stratos rally car. Lancia, with the Stratos rally car, wanted to make a statement. They had witnessed the Alpine 110 and realised that a dedicated, pure design rally car would last a long time and would definitely act as a halo model for the brand. The rally drivers themselves were consulted in the design process, and this led to the helmet visor screen layout, which gave them incredibly good vision over the front of the car. The short wheelbase made the car nimble. The broad stance helped again to make the car nimble on some of the twistier rally stages. And the enigmatic Ferrari Dino V6 provided the power, and all of it is clothed in the purest form over function design that Gandini has ever created. Early work on the Countach replacement was also placed in the hands of Marcello Gandini, and the Diablo that followed, to a certain extent, followed his original design, although Chrysler had taken over the company by this point and had made modifications. Around the same time, the Cesetta Marauder supercar with an astonishing V16 designed by an ex-Lamborghini car engineer and styled by Gandini is said by many to be much closer to his original design for the Diablo. Amongst his work for Maserati were the Casmin, the Ghibli 2, the Quattroporte 2, and for the Maserati Shamal and the Maserati Chubasco. And he also did the first and the second bi-turbo facelift. To those out there who are saying, what does Marcello Gandini have to do with the kit car industry? Well, a lot of the most sought after, the most desired, and the most appreciated replicas of the kit car industry in the last 30-40 years have been Marcello Gandini designs. First of all, there's a myriad of Countach replicas that graced the industry around the late 80s, early 90s. They inevitably led to Diablo replicas, especially in America. And of course, let's not forget the many replicas both in the UK and Italy itself of the Stratos. Let's take a moment just to take a look at some of the most iconic designs that this most talented of car designers graced the car industry with. Marcello Gandini passed away on the 13th of March 2024 at the age of 85.